It is Tomb Kings versus Chaos. You can see we have our Sphinx of Uxep, our Necrotect, and of course Setra the Imperishable on his bounding pet statue cat over here. Right away starting off with an aggressive skirmish being answered by our Casket of Souls right here. It's going to be a key linchpin of the fight. It's a huge source of armor-piercing artillery damage, 982. And over here, I should have seen that one of these was a Marauder Horse Master and prioritized that rather than continuing to go after the horseman over here. Pushing out very aggressively with the Sphinx trying to get a catch here with our Skeleton Horseman. Speed of 76 against the 90 speed. We're not going to catch them, but at least it's taxing on the micro, and we could get, you know, a few, like an even trade between this light cavalry versus their missile cavalry, which is usually more expensive, and it'll tie them down for our artillery piece to get even more damage. So not too bad. We're going to be charged by the entire contingent though, and that'll rout off the Skeleton Horsemen as I switch targets over here to these groups of Chaos Marauders. And again, next shot going into the Chosen with Halberds over here. This is going to be a big thorn in our side for the rest of the match. I'd like to get some damage off on them, maybe eliminate some models early. That'll make my job a lot easier in the late game, but as you can see, a clean miss, pretty much. I think we got 2 at splash damage, and that is not good for us. Very aggressively, Sartorial the Everwatcher is pushing in here. And a sniping attempt on the artillery piece by 2 Exalted Heroes coming here, and a final transmutation upgraded on this whole group of high value targets. This is most of the money in my army. Luckily it missed the Casket of Souls, but we got some damage off on one of the heroes, and the other Exalted Hero popping all of its abilities and able to get away. So we have to reform ranks here, get this artillery piece back online and firing as it goes into the Marauder with Horsemen again, just kind of counter-battering their skirmishing force here, and then switching back over to the Halberds. This group scares me quite a bit. The Forsaken pushing in here against these Skeleton Spearmen are going to be a big problem, and we're going to be pushing back with our Eyes of the Desert here. I'm getting pretty distracted up at the front trying to go after Sartorial the Everwatcher with Sphinx of Uxep is pretty good at taking care of it, but I did not see the second sniping attempt from the Exalted Hero coming back here. And I do have some support, but they're behind the lines, and as separation distance is not enough to aggro them just naturally. That combined with the Alpha Strike from the Marauder Horsemen, it will make short work of the Casket of Souls, and the Ice of the Desert sit by watching. But in the meantime, we have been pursuing Sartorial the Everwatcher quite aggressively, getting some good damage on this Demon of Tzeentch here. As you can see, his floppy little tentacle staff as he takes it for the high ground. 60 speed on this one, matched by the 68 of the Sphinx and the 68 of Setra himself. But they seem to be getting caught up on each other. Some pathing mistake here. And our Exalted Hero is coming in for cheeky shots in the back, but we'll be paying the price for that. Skirmish Cav have just been left to their own devices, finally getting attacked by the Skeleton Spearmen. And doing a great job really taking out the Eyes of the Desert here. The final transmutation mixed with all that missile fire is proving very effective. I should have been running them back into to attack on the other side, but solely my preoccupied attention is on Setra the Imperishable and his buddy Sphinx of Uxep. Like I'm not sure if it's a boy and his dog movie or just like a buddy cop, but they're trying their best to get all the way over to Sartorial, who should be slower than them, but yet seems to slip away always. As the Desert getting a decent charge. Yep, and taking a big hit there. 1,300. He's taking little chunks of 300 damage all the way. And now it's Cetra's turn. Bounding after, and a clean miss. Still 131. Being caught up by the skirmish cav here, just being sent in to mass block these two. Doesn't look like the Sphinx is doing anything. Maybe paralyzed with the situation. I think we get some orders to go over after this exalted hero who's pressing our Kepler guard. And here, very healthy unit of Mirror Guard for the late game. They are unbreakable, as is Sartorial. On top of these Chosen with Halberds, you still have very healthy 34 model count. That is going to be very dangerous for our Sphinx, and you can see some of the damage already trickling in here. Trying to get Nehru's protection on it while he's bogged down in these fights with these very dangerous infantry. Tossing him up in the air and cutting him with a beautiful anime X cut. That's how I love the Sphinx of Yusef so much, but as he wades through this infantry bog, you can see slowing down, trying to get after the Lord here. Hopefully that'll cause some leadership issues in the late game, make it easier to terror out things. And the pair of exalted heroes coming back, the brothers too, to face off against Sphinx of Yusef. Does actually quite a lot of damage there. I'm not sure if that was the Chosen or the exalted heroes. Could be a combination of both. And yeah, it looks like he has a Plague of Rust minus 60 armor. That's probably what did it. Yeah, very strong caster, Sartorial is. Popping standard die to increase the melee defense of this exalted hero. And it'll finally go down. Sphinx of Yusef, 66 attack with a bonus versus large of, let's just check that here. $35 is the bonus versus large. That puts his melee attack up to 101, I believe. So tailor-made for killing large target models. It's really amazing that exalted hero with the standard die effect could survive 3 hits. I believe 2 misses and then a final strike. But yeah, it's definitely a monster, especially with the putting Nehru's protection on it from Cetra, kind of rolling as these 2 Death Stars of anti-large. And it looks like we're keeping pace with Sartorial. He's winded, whereas we're debilitated from all the fighting and chasing. Yeah, debilitated over here, that's probably why it's taking so long. But as you can see, only 700 slowly healing due to Cetra's casting of spells there. One of the benefits of the Nekahara School of Magic. Yep, just over 800 health and 1 health left for Sartorial. Being countercharged by what's left of these Marauder Horsemen, they'll immediately start dying. But they did that 30 damage. You know, it's respectable for such a cheap unit going up against something specifically designed to take it down, and quite a bit more expensive on the tier list there. And here comes Cetra. Oh, he got that 1 extra hit point down. Cetra the Imperishable with the kill, and that should be it for the match as Cetra starts working in on these Mirror Guard here. An absolutely brutal fight. I have to be honest, getting back into the multiplayer has been quite difficult, and it feels really good to eke out a win like that. But let's check the damage here. Probably paid for itself on the Casket of Souls. Actually did pay for itself. One of the most expensive units in my army. Did quite a good job, up to about 4,000 damage worth. 1,000 for the Az's Desert didn't quite pay for itself. Definitely did not pay for itself for the Skeleton Horseman. Yeah, light cav is not a substitute for shock cav or melee cav. It's I kind of threw them away early. Then these Tomb Guard with 1,000, yeah, it probably paid for itself there. It was just in the pit fight, grinding it out with the Chaos Infantry. Always a dangerous bet, but if anyone could do it, it's the Kepler Guard. I think one of the most expensive infantry units that the Tomb Kings have. Didn't quite pay for itself from the Skeleton Spearmen. Didn't quite pay for itself again. But definitely didn't pay for itself here. Actually, 6 away from paying for itself for the Skeleton Warrior. I believe they're 300, 350, I believe, for the Skeleton Spears. 360, yeah, good job. 189, not quite so much. The Necrotech's job was mostly to just heal the Sphinx, so I think we can attribute some of the value to that Necrotech over here, and his job is just chasing them around the entire game. And then Cetra probably did pay for itself, but also was alive at the very end and dealt the death blow to Sartorial the Everwatcher. Huge value for Sartorial, both in the spells and I believe in just anti-melee damage. Great value on the Exalted Hero here again, also great value on the second one. Taking out that Casket of Souls was a really big snipe, and one of the many lessons that I've had to learn today about keeping up on my micro. Chaos Marauders, nothing really to write home about. Did okay. Didn't quite pay for themselves. Forsaken, I'm not sure if they did. I thought 700. I'm not familiar with the Chaos Army. I never play Chaos. But the Mirror Guard, I don't think paid for themselves either. But they're alive at the end and they're unbreakable, so that's worth quite a bit. Chosen with Halberds, I believe, did 1,012. Did quite a fine job, and were certainly something to avoid the entire match, so well worth their weight. And the Marauder Horsemen did pretty good. Not this one, got targeted by that artillery, but the Marauder Horsemaster, I believe, did quite well. Yeah, I should have focused that one down. Didn't know that there was a small spike in the value there. So yeah, just a lesson in micro and having an idea that works, and you know, getting that snipe on the Casket of Souls, and then just how much determined, dogged pursuit is required in this game sometimes to get some of your targets. It's very challenging, steep learning curve, I will say, for this past few days that I've been working on it. But thank you so much for dropping by, and I hope to see you again in the future.